Thanks for watching this video. This is Mr. Bowman, and in this video we're going to share with you factoring completely. Okay, really there are two steps to the process of factoring a polynomial completely. Some polynomials can be written as products that are more than two factors, and that's the goal we're going to seek today. So to completely factor a polynomial, the first thing you want to do is to check to see if the polynomial has a greatest common factor. We worked on that a little bit earlier. If it does, factor it out. Not every polynomial has a greatest common factor other than 1, but if 1 is there, it makes the problem simpler if you can factor it out first. The second step, and really the last step, is to factor the remaining polynomial. If you factor out the greatest common factor, the remaining factor, the second factor that you write, could very well be factorable like a trinomial factors using the box. That's the set of skills we're going to practice today. Let's see if we can factor this polynomial, this trinomial, completely. This is 4x squared minus 20x minus 56. The first thing I want to do is see if there's anything that goes evenly into all three terms. You know, I see this 4 here, and I'm wondering if 4 goes evenly into 20. It does, 5 times. Does 4 go evenly into 56? It does. It actually goes into 56 14 times. So I can factor the 4 out. Now, x doesn't go into every term. There's no x in the last term of this. So I can't factor an x out, but I can factor out a 4 and write that polynomial as 4 times. What would the leftover part of this be? Essentially, you can think about this like dividing each of the terms by 4, couldn't you? It'd be x squared minus 5x minus 14. So I've factored out the greatest common factor. I want to look at this part right here and see if we can factor that thing. That looks like a trinomial, something that we could possibly factor using the box. By now I hope you're pretty good at using the box to factor, but if you're not, we'll continue working on it today. So x squared minus 5x minus 14, well, x squared goes here. The negative 14 goes here. And I do know in this case that I'm looking for x into x, because that's all that I really need to multiply to get x squared. I need the middle terms here to add up to negative 5x. What are my options for negative 14? Well, I could use 1 and 14, or I could use 2 and 7. Do you see which one it is? Yeah, it's 2 and 7. The fact that the negative sign is there with the negative 14 means one of them is going to have to be negative. Can you figure out which one has to be negative to get negative 5x? Yeah, it's this one, negative 7x and positive 2x. So I need a positive 2 here, and I need a negative 7. And this part, the part underlined in red, can be written as this product, x plus 2 times x minus 7. And when I write my answer, you know, if you factor something, you're writing it as a product. Don't lose this here. Don't lose that GCF that you pulled out. The answer should be written as a product of 3 things: the GCF and your 2 new factors from the box. So the answer we need is 4 times x plus 2 times x minus 7. Here's another example. Let's factor this trinomial. Negative 3n squared minus 15n minus 12. I want to see if there's anything that goes evenly into all 3 terms. And I see that this first term is negative. And when you watch the video on greatest common factor, we suggested that if the first term was negative, you make it part of the greatest common factor. Today is the reason why we suggested that to you. Let's see. 3 and 15 and 12. Is there a number that goes into all 3 of those? Yeah, 3 does. 3 could be part of the greatest common factor. I can't use any n's here. I've got n squared and n, but no n here. So my greatest common factor is negative 3. So what would the remaining trinomial be if I divided all of these by negative 3? Well, this would just be n squared. This would be positive 5n. And this would be positive 4. Good. So I've got my greatest common factor. Let's see if we can factor this trinomial using the box. N squared goes here. Positive 4 goes here. This must be n times n. That's all that really you can multiply to get n squared. My options for multiplying two numbers to get 4 are either 1 and 4, or I could use 2 and 2. The signs will be the same to get a positive 4. Do you see which one it is? To get positive 5n? Yeah, it's 1 and 4, isn't it? 1 and 4. Both positive. Because 1 times n is n, and 4 times n is 4n. That does it. So what that tells me is I can write this here as n plus 1 times n plus 4. Did I forget anything important? Oh yeah, the negative 3. Negative 3 times n plus 1 times n plus 4. Factor the trinomial completely. That's the binomial. We're going to put a big old question mark there for a minute and see if we agree. Let's see if we can factor 2x cubed minus 18x. 2 goes evenly into both terms, doesn't it? Does anything else go into both terms? An x does. I can make x part of the greatest common factor. Good. If I thought about dividing both of those terms by 2x, can we figure out what would be left? 2x cubed divided by 2x would be x squared. And negative 18x divided by 2x would be negative 9. You know, there's a reason why I did say this was a trinomial. I can factor this like a trinomial, but what's missing? The middle term is nowhere to be found. What if I rewrote this to make it look like a trinomial where it said x squared plus 0x minus 9? I wonder if I could factor it with the box that way. Let's try it. Well, x squared belongs here, and negative 9 goes here. X and x make x squared. You know, the fact that this is negative 9 means that my signs will be different. What are my options for multiplying to get 9? Well, I could use 1 and 9, or I could use 3 and 3. Do you see which of those, if the signs were different, would add up to 0 x's? Yeah, it's this one. To get a negative 9, I need 3 and I need negative 3 to get me negative 3x and positive 3x. Those would add up to 0x. So these two factors make x squared plus 0x minus 9. I've got x plus 3 times x minus 3. And don't forget that first factor we found, 2x. 2x cubed minus 18x in factored form is 2x times x plus 3 times x minus 3. Thanks for watching.